Welcome to Sacred Stories, our sacred space where the beautiful divine voices of today are shared. I am your host, Reverend Patricia Brooks, and together, with the help of our incredible and courageous guests, we are going on a powerful journey, a sacred journey, into our shared consciousness. Today, we are meeting writer, actor, teacher, and creativity specialist, Sam Bennett. Originally from Chicago, Sam is a former member and proud supporter of one of LA's premier 99-seat theater companies, the Open Fist Theater Company. She has also worked with LA Theater Works and Comedy Sports and has extensive television and film credits. Sam is also a creativity productivity specialist who has counseled hundreds of artists on their way to success. The author of the surprisingly popular book of poems, By the Way, You Look Really Great Today, Sam is currently writing the Organized Artist Book, a success book for creative people who want to be more organized and organized people who'd like to be more creative. We're in for a treat today, Sacred Stories family, and it is my pleasure to say welcome, Sam Bennett, to Sacred Stories.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here. How fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited to speak with you. I've heard you speak, and I absolutely love, because I believe you're one of the few people that I've ever really met that completely and totally can walk in the creative and the more logic kind of world. You really straddle both of those incredibly well.
Thank you. I love doing that. I love balancing the creative and the practical and the esoteric and the physical, and I like swinging between the worlds. And I have to tell you, Patricia, from a story perspective, that bio, I don't know if my team sent it to you, but it's from a couple of years ago. So it was a little interesting for me to hear, like, oh wow, those, like, so much of that information has changed. I mean, I'm still an actor. I've still done all those things. But now, you know, the number of people who've been to my programs is well into the thousands, and that book that I was working on has now been out for 2.5 years. It's called Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day. And it was just so fun. I was like flashing back to, like, wow, there was a time before the book was done. And I got a new book coming out in the fall. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like seeing an old picture of yourself. You're like, wow, I thought that blouse was cute. Interesting.
Well, I so appreciate you bringing us up to date, because I knew when I was reading your bio, I know you have the book, Get It Done, and I know that you have a lot of other work that you're working on. So I just thought that this is maybe how what we wanted to talk about, but it's perfect. Because
right.
It's all perfect, and you're very accomplished, and that's what I wanted to actually even start off with. I mean, you're an incredibly accomplished woman. You're a writer, you're an actor, you're a teacher, you're a creativity specialist. But tell us a little bit more about the personal Sam Bennett, and this not only who you really are, but kind of walk us into your sacred story. Tell us about how the sacred spiritual Sam Bennett.
Yeah, thank you. Well, like a lot of us, I was not exactly a member of the Happy Childhood Club. I grew up in a very sort of chaotic family situation. I have more ex-step-parents than most people have toes. And so there's a lot of changes all through my growing up. And I was I was a weird kid, you know. I was super sensitive. I was super verbal. I was kind of precocious. I was extremely tall. I was a tall baby. I was a tall toddler. I was a tall kid. I was a tall teenager, and now I'm a tall grown-up. And so and because I was so verbally precocious, like, I seemed a lot older than I was. And then, because my birthday's in February, I was like a year or a year and a half younger than some of the kids in my class. So there was feeling like an outsider, and then there was feeling like an outsider, and then I felt like an outsider on top of that. And I think a lot of creatives feel that way. I think that's the experience of a lot of creative people, and people who are entrepreneurs, people who are sensitive. And there's a gift in it. You know, there's a gift in not being part of the crowd, in recognizing that which is other, And the one thing to be careful of, one of the things that I had to work through is I think sometimes we collapse the idea of being talented and being special and being weird. And sometimes I think we're afraid if we give up our weirdness, if we start to be too normal, we're going to lose our talent. Which is, in fact, no one can ever take your talent away from you. Your creativity, and I believe everyone is a creative genius. Not everyone is artistic, in the same way that not everyone is musical, but I believe that everyone is a creative genius. If you have ever solved a problem differently than anybody else has ever solved a problem, congratulations, you're a genius. Mm-hmm. So, but I was, luckily I found I was a big reader. I love to tell stories, and I love to read stories, and it was a short step from there to acting. So I was one of those kids who was always putting on plays and went to theater camp and did all the shows in high school. Went to college and finally got a job offer at the Second City. So I was working in the world of improv comedy for a long time, and was had an acting career in Chicago and then in Los Angeles. And I had one of those acting careers that always went well enough that you didn't want to quite give up on it, but not so well as to actually be able to support a person. So it was a lot of part-time jobs and gigs and project shows and juggling, and creatively very satisfying, financially disastrous. And finally, I had this thought, sort of like, well, when God sends you the same postcard 13 times in a row?
Yeah, I've gotten a couple postcards from God too. Thank you for bringing that up. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a bunch of stuff in my life shifted, and all of a sudden I was like, well, I wonder if I could do this organized artist company thing full time. And then I thought, well, I guess I should get business cards. I mean, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about entrepreneurship. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about any of it. But I had started to teach the Get It Done workshop in 2000. Because I was really interested in this question of how do creative people make decisions? When you can do anything, what do you do? And how do you keep moving forward, when there's no quarterly review on how your novel's doing, or there's no raise, associated with getting your work out into the world. So I started to develop all these just worksheets and inquiries and systems and strategies, not because I've got an incredible method and everybody should do things my way, but rather because I think I can help you find your incredible method. Because this is the thing with artists and with creatives and with entrepreneurs, is that the way you do it, there's no right way. There's just your way. Your business, your life, your creativity, your art is an expression of yourself and is the vehicle of expression for yourself. So you have to make decisions from that soul center. You can't be looking to everybody else for information about how to move forward. And that can be really tricky. That can be much harder than you might think. So I was really interested in helping creative people do that and help them get out of their own way and help them set goals and make more money and heal the planet with their work.
Right. You know what I think is so beautiful in your story, and thank you so much for sharing it. You talk about, feeling different, right? When there's gifts in feeling different. And you said that many creative people, such as yourself, feel the same way. However, each creative person is also very unique in what they bring to the world and what their gifts and talents are. And it just reminds me of, it's our sacred story, that we're all individual sacred stories. We're writing our individuals, but we are collectively the same. Collectively our experiences are very similar. We make up the whole. So I think that's a really beautiful commentary.
And it's one of the things I love most, actually. I feel like we are so much the same. If you put all of humanity on the world's biggest football field, took two steps back and squinted, you would not be able to tell us apart. You know, we look exactly the same. What we think of as big differences in skin tone or size or shape or sex or gender or whatever, like really, we're identical. I used to notice this. I used to go to a women-only gym in Los Angeles, and there was a lot of, you know, old Russian women and all kinds of people and all kinds of women. And I noticed that when we were naked, we all looked pretty much the same. You know, from the super fit aerobics instructor to the, you know, 300-pound, 70-year-old woman, like, we look basically exactly the same. When we put clothes on, we started to look a little more different. But nude, we're identical.
Right. You know, and it's...
And we all want the same things. You know, we all want to feel like our work matters. We all want to love and be loved. We all want, you know, a better life for our children. We all want to eat good food and tell good jokes and get a good night's sleep. Like, that's everybody throughout all history ever.
Right.
We're exactly the same, and we get all hung up on these tiny little differences of like, oh, well, she's a Republican. Oh, well, he's a, you know, vegan. And, well, she, you know, decaf, mocha, fudge, latte, no foam. Like, that's, you know.
Right. And I think what happens as we're all, you know, living and breathing and trying to find our way in this world, I think what happens is that for many of us, if we're open to it, that, you know, as you say, God sends us the same postcard 13 or more times, right? To connect, to reach out, to give us the nudge. My dad would call it the nudge. You know, to kind of be our divine, authentic, beautiful self, our unique self in this sea of collective sameness that we are.
Yeah.
And so I think what's really beautiful about your story is that you talk about not being a member of the Happy Childhood Club. You talk about feeling different. You've lived through that world. You found your creative gifts. And you had not only the courage to embrace your creative gifts and really be who you are and bring those to the world, but that in that question of if I can do anything, because I am actually that creative, that talented, that magnificent, I can do anything, which all of us really, who we really are. I can do anything. Do I have the courage to do not only what makes, you know, speaks to my soul, like you mentioned, but you took that and you used it in service for others to help others find what speaks to their soul.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, that's what I try. That's what I'm trying for. That's what we're aiming for.
I think that's so incredibly important, and I think especially now in today's world, it's not only imperative, and I don't use that word lightly, that we all go inward enough to really find what speaks to our soul, and to find if we can do anything, what would that be? Find that. And not only do that to be the most magnificent divine expression of who we are, but if we can do that and we can do it in service or to help others at the same time, I mean, there's the cherry on top, right? That's the ultimate in my book.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, I think it's the only way out of the self-consciousness and the perfectionism and the procrastination and the vicious self-judgment that keeps so many of us stuck. It's like, I just came up with this metaphor the other day, so let me know if this works for you. Because I live right by the beach. I live about a block and a half from the beach. So I can hear the ocean, I can smell the ocean. I go for a beach walk every day, and, you know, there's dolphins and seals. It's beautiful. And every time when you go swimming in the ocean, you know how it is. You start to walk in and, like, it's cold, and you think, oh, maybe I don't want to go in. It's kind of cold. You're in your swimsuit, and you feel a little self-conscious, and, you know, it can be kind of uncomfortable. But if 10 feet away from you there was someone in distress, you wouldn't be thinking about how uncomfortable you are. You would dive in and help them.
Right.
And when your desire to help other people gets stronger than your self-consciousness, your fear of rejection, your whatever, it gets a lot easier to get your work out into the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. And not only does your desire to help others outweigh your self-consciousness, right? Because I think that this is everyone's biggest stumbling block, the fear of being judged or, the not good enough or, what if I don't succeed, that runs in our heads. Not only is it the want and the desire strong enough to help others, but the want and the desire to fully step right into your own power and to help yourself. That has to be the greatest. Yeah. Yeah. So Sam Bennett, what would you tell other people? What was some of the wisdom gained? Because we know that this is a beautiful way to be, and you've mastered it to a great degree. But what else can you tell people, share the wisdom that to help them more fully embrace truly their sacred self and their work?
The thing that's coming up for me as you're saying that is, I would love for people to remember that often we don't live in a world of black and white. We live in a world of black and white and a million colors in between. And sometimes we get really binary, in our thinking, like, well, it's good or it's bad, or I succeed or I fail, you win or you lose. And what I would invite people to do is to remember all the ways in which two opposite things are true at the same time. For example, the self-consciousness thing, like on the one hand, you really care about what other people think. You really do not want to be judged harshly, don't want fail publicly, you don't want to be made fun of, you really, really care about other people's opinions. On the other hand, and equally, and at the same time, you don't give two figs what anybody thinks. You really don't. You want to do your own thing. Another example is, on the one hand, you really want things to feel comfortable and feel the same and to feel stable and familiar. And equally, at the same time, we want things to be new and exciting and different and challenging. And we want both of those things at the same time. So when you take two opposing ideas that are equally true, and if you kind of imagine if you're holding them in your hands, and you bring your hands closer together, and you start to feel the dynamic tension between these two opposing ideas, like the pigs. Did you see those pigs games when you were a kid where they're
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you spin them around, and they resist, and then you spin them the other way, and they go click together. So you feel them like they're spun around, and they're like resisting each other. So you bring your hands closer together and feel that tension in between those two ideas of caring what other people think and not caring, and wanting things to be the same and wanting things to be different. And you can sort of surf the tension between these two ideas. Like, this is where you get a really interesting life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the juice really is it's not one thing or the other. It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's not success or failure. It's surfing the energy between two things that seem to oppose each other, but in fact collaborate, make an exciting life.
Right. No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you do that with your work. Let's go back to your work. You've written 3 books so far, and you created a company called the Organized Artist Company, which is to help artists, right? It's a structured, goal-oriented environment for artists. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's move into then. You've learned all this. You're really walking your walk, and in addition to it, it's not just kind of out there, these great, nice thoughts. You're actually putting it into practice. So let's talk about the work that Sam Bennett does.
Yeah, this is what I didn't know, and what I would love for everybody to learn. It turns out that entrepreneurship, particularly creative entrepreneurship, I think, is the single best tool for personal growth and spiritual development of all time.
I agree.
Any month in an ashram, hands down. Hands down. Like, if you ever wondered what your stuff was, start a business, because it's right in front of you. It'll be right in front of you. And every challenge you have is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to be a better business owner, a better communicator, a better teacher, a better person, a better citizen, a better woman, a better man. Like, you are being called forward by your work. And it's a beautiful challenge. I mean, it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to live, and it's amazing to watch other people do it. And it's really where a lot of my concentration has gone. As much as I love, Get It Done is really about just getting whatever projects you have inside of your mind, out onto a piece of paper or out into the world a little bit. But I also love helping people who might already self-describe as creative, like maybe they're writers or they're artists or they're performers or they're healers or teachers, spiritual leaders like you are, who have something they really want to offer the world and they'd love to make money at it. They'd love to profit from their creativity. They'd love to help the world with their creativity. And helping those people design the business that is tailor-made especially for them, that really leverages their personality, leverages their natural rhythms, leverages the things that they love to do and would do anyway, and give them a little bit of structure, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of tools, so that they can create the business that they love, whether that's just like a little lifestyle business so you get a couple extra bucks to buy the good olives, or a full-on, like mine, full-on $500,000 a year, $1 million a year business.
Right. Well, I have to say, I never really heard. I'm an entrepreneur now, later in life. I've always had a career working for someone else. And without a doubt, I agree 1,000%. I have had more spiritual recentering, right? In showing up every day. Because you know what? I think for me, and I think for a lot of people, I mean, I'll just put this out there. Everyone has their own take. But for me, it's the commitment back to something I believe so profoundly in, that I have to, even on the days where it's not easy to commit, even on the days that I say, what the heck am I thinking doing this, that I am able to go deep enough and know enough to recommit, rededicate, and continue.
Yeah, and to be able to do it without approval.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's in our families, in school, when you have a job, you do your work and somebody says, oh, that's good work, well done. Or, well, that was, you could do better, Patricia, you're not working to your full potential, right? You get those reviews, you get those, those gold stars, you have people in the office you can turn to and say, I just finished the Johnson report. And they go, that's great, let's go celebrate with lunch. Here,
right.
Like, what do? I turn to my cats, like, Kitty, I just, there's no one to applaud, no one cares how hard you work.
Right.
The only thing that matters is your results.
Yeah. And you know what's so incredibly perfect about what you're saying is that it doesn't matter if you're a actor or you're a writer or you're a teacher or you're following your spiritual calling, because what you've been describing, I would say, is probably the number one issue or concern that the listeners, I have a telesummit also, and we interview people all the time, and people call in all the time, and the number one thing is, I want to follow my spiritual calling. I want to be able to do this for a living, and then they get stopped. How do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
What would this look like? They don't have the confidence. And very, very real things around them. But to have somebody like you or a process or the company you've set up, or just have it out there just to know that something can be, there's help and it can be structured and goal-oriented. And, sometimes all anybody needs is just, a little bit of a roadmap, right? For it not to be so out there, the kind of the instruction manual to some degree.
Yeah, and the understanding that it can be really easy.
Right.
It can be real.
Right.
Like, I'll just give you a little example. Like, one of the words I know that shuts people down is marketing. Right? Like, we love the work that we do. Like, I would do the work all day long, but, don't make me, I don't want to market it. Like, I don't even, marketing, and it's a stupid word because it doesn't really mean anything, right? So, what if you just picked a different verb? Pick a verb that in a way in which you love to interact with people. So how would you love to interact with your clients or your fans or your customers or your people, your tribe? Do you want to dance with them? Do you want to do magic tricks for them? Do you want to preach at them? Do you want to whisper to them? Do you want to send them little love notes? Maybe you want to whip them. Suzanne Evans, she whips her people. Danielle Laporte has a thing called the Daily Whip. She loves to whip people. I send poetry. How you can start communicating with them any way you want, and when you think of it as a dance, when you think of it as an adoption process, when you think of it as a garden, whatever it is you love to do, like now your creative brain starts spinning. Like, ooh, if it's love letters, what would that look like? And what font would I use? And what would I say if I knew I was sending a love letter? And now you're doing something that's coming right from the center of you, from your own creativity, from your own imagination, from your own value system, and it's communicating directly with the hearts and minds of the people who are already into what you're doing.
Right. And that is so incredibly important and perfect because there's such an energy in a word. There's a feeling. I'm having the same experience. I mean, I'm a minister. This is spiritual work for me. At the same time, Sacred Stories is expanding. We've expanded into publishing, into this podcast show, many other things. And the marketing term, or how do I describe it? People use the word brand, of course. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so not a spiritual term. And the energy of that word, it literally stops me in my tracks. And you know what I'm saying? So when you just describe something, instead of like a marketing email that goes out, it's a love letter. Wow, what a shift, Sam. What an incredible shift.
Yeah, and I'll give you another one because it's funny what shuts people. Some people are like, I feel fine about marketing, but brand shuts me down. Or I feel fine about brand, but networking, oh God, don't make me do it. Right? We all have different places where we get stopped. For brand, I would just think of it as an outfit.
Right.
Your brand is your outfit. What do you want the outfit to look like? Does it look like a fancy ball gown? Does it look like a business suit? Does it look like a, naked woman dancing wearing beads and feathers? Like, what does it look like? And have that energy and those colors and that style. That's all you need to decide.
Sam, I'm going to start telling people my Sacred Stories outfit is. And let me tell you, we're going to take off because people are going to go, what? What did she just say? What is she talking about? Right? Why not? Why can't it be different? Right? Why do I have to say the word brand? Yeah.
Exactly. And you can modify it. You can say, well, sometimes it shows up, on the whole, the outfit looks like this. Some days we dress it up and put it here, and some days we dress it down and put it here. But basically, the style of the thing is the same. The vibe of the thing, the integrity of the thing remains the same. We may adjust a little bit for occasion, in the same way that we all do that with our outfits, right? We adjust for occasion. But it's still you. It's still us. It's an honest expression of the person that we are. And, this is going back to that individuality and that authenticity. And when you are doing that, when you are right in the center of that, you cannot fail.
Right.
Because you're going to make the choices that no one else would make, and everybody's going to go, how did you even think of that? Like, maybe I should do it like Patricia's doing it. She's got this whole, this thing going on. Like, no, it's going to work for you because you're you. They have to find their own thing. They can copy you if they want, but it's not going to work for them because they're not you. Right.
I love that you can make it fun. We can talk about the Sacred Stories outfit, but there's such a brilliance in the work that you do and the way that you not only show up, but the way that you allow others or help others to do the same. It's brilliant. Now you have something starting in next week. It's called the Big Yes. Can you share that, what that is, and how people can find out about that, and where it is?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have enjoyed this time with Patricia and I, you will love the Big Yes. Its full name is the Big Yes: How to Overcome Perfectionism, Procrastination, and Self-Doubt, and Make $10,000 or more from your creativity. It's happening at the Westin LAX, July 22nd to the 24th, 2016. So if you're listening to this later, I'm sorry. But if you're listening to it before, I would love for you to come. You can find out all about it if you go to bigyesrevolution.com, www.bigyesrevolution.com. And you'll see all the details and a link to the order form. And I'll even do you one better. If you use the promo code 300, it'll knock $300 off the ticket price just because you're a friend of Patricia's, therefore you're a friend of mine. So, and you can bring a friend for free. So it's a pretty great deal. And if you are feeling fuzzy, or like your big yes has turned into a big meh, maybe you've started something and it's not really going that well, or you're having trouble making money from your business, or you're in the still dreaming stage of I'd like to get some kind of side hustle thing going, but I don't really know what that would be. Or maybe you've got something going, but it's totally stressing you out and you're not, seeing the results that you want, the money that you want, the joy that you want. I'd love for you to come. It's the most exciting room full of people, and it's a lot of exactly what we've been talking about here. It's about moving back and forth between the inner game of entrepreneurship, the inner game of creative entrepreneurship and self-acceptance and spiritual growth, and the outer game, the tips and tricks and strategies, that make it simple and make it fun and are really actionable, that you can really, so you don't just walk out going wow, that was really exciting. What do I do now? You walk out of there with, so morning, day one, I do this thing where you get your soul's vision for your business, in a download. And then we make a business plan for you, customized to you, in about 90 minutes. So before lunch on day one, you will know exactly what business it is you're in and how it works. And that's the morning of day one. So it's super fun.
That's just the morning of day one. And I have to say, I absolutely know that to be true because I've heard Sam speak. And it was a 3-day conference. Sam was the only speaker in the 3 days that I walked away with an actual plan. Sam had handouts, Sam had exercises, we worked, and I have it on my desk. And it was a very interesting, Sam, and I think I shared this with you, but I'll share it with the listeners that I normally don't like to do exercises. I was sitting there going, I really don't want to do this. But then I thought, I should. I'm here. It's just not my thing. Your exercise was actually so compelling to me that as I just started to kind of halfway write stuff in. And then I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And long story short, I finished the exercise, received incredible, profound insight into what the exercise was about. And it's on my desk to remind me. And I walked away from that conference with that.
So gratified to hear that. I can't even tell you. That thrills me to bits. I love that. And that's exactly, like you said, it's like you identified right from the very beginning. It's exactly what I love to do, is take that which is mysterious, that which is personal, that which is deep, that which is unusual, and make it actionable so that you can really be living your truth and living your purpose and sharing it with the world in the way that we need you to, because we need your work.
Oh, without a doubt. It is one of your many gifts, Sam Bennett, And if someone is listening to this after July 24th and is not able to take advantage of the Big Yes, how else can they find you?
Yeah, just hop over to theorganizedartistcompany.com, theorganizedartistcompany.com, all the way spelled out, because I'm a spell it all out for you kind of a girl. And there's always some kind of free, I've done some free webinar or something, whatever is sort of most recent is usually up there. So you just opt in for that, you can get some free training, and then you'll be on my list. You'll get a bunch of stuff, most of which people find very pleasurable. And then you can write me back, and you can tell me what you're up to, and we'll be pen pals and best friends. It'll be great.
I absolutely encourage it, because to have Sam Bennett as a best friend and a pen pal is a pretty special thing. Sam, this has been such an absolute joy. Really, there's been, again, so much profound wisdom and brilliance in what you've shared and the work that you do. I'm going to ask you, final bit of profound brilliance you want to share with our listeners.
Yeah. That the desire on your heart, that thing, that project, that idea that you want to do, that one that's been tugging on your sleeve for so long, that's your engraved invitation from God. It's the work that only you can do. The work that only you can do, you must do. The work that anybody can do, somebody else should do. Somebody else can set up the chairs for the bake sale. But only you can do your work. And we are not here for an unlimited amount of time. We do not have forever in which to do our work. So do not delay. Start moving your feet forward, even just 15 minutes a day on the project that matters most to you, can transform your life and can transform the world.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I would say that is absolutely sacred words for sure. Sam Bennett, thank you very, very much for spending your time with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. We'll see you all at Big Yes, everybody. Come on down. Bring a friend.
All at the Big Yes, LA, July 22nd to 24th. And again, if you missed the Big Yes, you can find Sam at theorganizedartistcompany.com. And thank you all for joining us today. Subscribe to our Sacred Stories feed on iTunes and Stitcher, and like and comment to help spread the word about the amazing guests that we have on Sacred Stories. Join us next time as our guests continue, as Sam, to courageously share their sacred stories and the wisdom that they've gained in service to you and to help raise the vibration of our world and our greater collective consciousness.